So, listen, I've noticed things
Like?
with Daniel.
Ah, powers.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Oh. Welcome back to Life is Strange 2. Last time we met our estranged family. Because that's just what we do, right? We reunite families. We break down barriers. I should just get going. I don't know where I was going with that. I was going somewhere, and then I wasn't. Just... I am... It feels like The Office, where it's like I start a sentence and then I hope it goes somewhere. That's what that felt like. I don't think I quoted that right. Beaver Creek, Oregon, 1 week later. Okay, so we've been here long enough to put some stuff on the floor, make it feel more lived in, have a poster of the fun thing. What? I mean, this definitely feels more like a teenager's room than like the guest room it felt like before. Still the cross.
Man, I could sleep all day long in this bed.
A real bed.
I'm way too hungry.
I hungry. Okay, so our dad's picture.
That's cool. Claire dug this up for us.
Oh, this is different.
That's such a baller in his suit.
Such a baller. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is different. The only picture that we've had of our dad, it feels like when I'm saying that, it's like the only memory of our dad that we've really had up until now since we checked the phone was that one picture that looked like a driver's license picture. This is the wedding picture. And it doesn't look like a picture of our mom. It's like the grandparents and the dad, right? The very like posed photographer type pictures that you get where it's like all the family and you have like a billion of them with all the different possible family combinations, right? Steven's book.
This is pretty good so far. I
Harry...
love that Steven only has crime and train books.
I don't know why, but that strikes me like a grandpa thing. Crime and train books. Inherent mice. Oh, wait, we could... Was it read, or was it just, like, read the cover?
This is pretty good so far.
Okay.
I love that Steven only has crime and train books. I don't even know how Beaver Creek looks like. We're not allowed to get out.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're fugitives, right? So we're all... Hush, hush. Look at our clothes.
Claire wanted to throw her clothes away, but we convinced her that with some sewing and cleaning, it would be enough.
Why throw them away, right? Like, they were dirty, or, I mean, you can wash them if they're dirty. Or, like, they were cut up. This carpet looks a bit... So we were talking about dirty. The carpet looks... Especially right here. Is that a cat? This is a new game. Is that a cat or people talking? I can't tell. There's also this part of me that goes, is it in the game? This game is really good with that. I don't know how many times I've had to like pop out my earbuds to sit there and go, is it? That's laughter. Okay, it's people. But this game has quite a few times made me go, is this the game or is this reality?
That's a cool memento of our
adventure?
Secret cabbing in the woods.
That's the way to say it. Why do you have paper towels in here? This game is also like really good about the small details, like the coffee rings, like the water stains on the table. This thing on the carpet, though. What happened in this room? This sound.
Daniel looks like a total thug in his new pajamas.
Last I remember, they were like Disney princess pajama type things. What on earth type of pajamas does he have now? Oops. Okay, because the game was like, you know that you can press this button and see your backpack and your objectives. Canteen, probably the best thing we found in the old house. Very helpful. Also, if we're actually like living in a home that is safe for us, do we need the canteen? if we are holding on to these things that have helped us in our Lord of the Rings adventure, is that like a trauma response in the way that we're playing out the things that helped us back then, but we don't need now? And that's what I mean by like a trauma response, right? These things were helpful for us then. We keep doing them. We keep holding on to them because it's like we're stuck in that moment. Because if we're honestly in a safe and secure home environment, we don't need these things. Old book, Night in the Forest, right? That's not eerie. Found it in one of the old bedrooms. I finally have time to read now. That's true. And like, it's not just the time though, it's the safety, it's the security. And I can't help but notice as I say that we still have the condoms. There's no description for that. Like, this exists. The blankets, right? Oh, okay, so we're not literally like carrying all these things around with us, I guess. Do we have any new drawings? I got distracted by the snowman because I realized that the snowman was from like The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Wow, I did not realize how far we traveled from the abandoned house to the Reynolds house. Okay. Well, let's catch up. The drawings. Mice Palace. This is the food. This is when we left the first time. Focus it. The training, right? The game that we made. More of the training. I think we saw this before. Back to town today. Walked slower in the snow. Scavenged trash. Found tons of good stuff. How could people waste so much food? I think we saw this before. Daniel's sick, tired, and coughing. We'll go away, or we'll go easy on the outside training until he feels better. November 26th. I also realized this is like Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving-ish time. Thanksgiving is one of those weird holidays where it's like, it's a certain Thursday of the month. So like, who knows in 2016? I'm sure someone could Google it. But like, who knows in 2016 what day exactly Thanksgiving would have been? It's usually just like the end of the month. That's where my brain goes. End of the month. So like, the irony is like, this family, right, of two people, doesn't matter, they're family. This family is like food scarce. That's in like, they don't have food during the time when America's like all about food. It's a food-based holiday. And there's all this marketing about like tons of food, essentially. It's like huge turkey, huge ham, stuffing, all this other stuff. And I realized that all of this would be very individualized, like per family. Each family has their own like take on Thanksgiving. I also realize not everybody lives in America. Totally get that. But like, that's what comes to my mind too, as I'm looking at some of these dates, is like, if they grew up with Thanksgiving, like how do they feel about that? Is this what will come to their mind in the future when they talk about this time of year? Think about this time of year, the fact that not every Thanksgiving was abundance. Might need to go back soon for some medicine. BC, 30 miles back in the snow. Yeah, we saw this before too, with the art that Daniel did. Progress today, stopped a snowball in motion, heavy rock. So this is where we started this episode. Episode is in, not this particular video, episode is in the English section, chapter thing of the game. Anyways, down and getting worse. Oh, if we're seeing pictures of the dog, we haven't caught up yet. Leaving tomorrow for Beaver Creek. We saw this. We did this art. Fuck. Sorry, pup. Ugh. Burning cold. Had to carry Daniel for over 2 miles. No one's stopping to help us. What's wrong with these guys? I imagine that's kind of worse in our current state of being. The elephant in the room. Yep. Dan getting better. He's eating like a horse. I mean, like, that's kids growing up. Guess that's good. Plus, if you're, like, fighting some kind of type of infection or some type of illness, right? Been hanging out with C and S a lot. Pretty awkward after all those years. They're walking on eggshells not to talk about Seattle or Karen. Karen isn't like our mom. It's always interesting when kids don't call their parents by first name. Usually that means like there's some kind of trauma, there's some kind of disconnect, right? Because otherwise we usually call our parents by like mom and dad. There's a huge elephant following us everywhere. That elephant at the bottom is like rude. That I know it's not meant to be cute, but it's cute. It's like the Care Bears cute of awkward elephants. Oh, Bear Reynolds, Stephen Reynolds. That strikes me so different when it's like the really detailed art. And then there's like around that is like Daniel's art. December 6th. We're coming up on like holiday times. Reynolds Rules. Okay, so we have the Reynolds Rules, and I don't know if this has gotten more detailed, like as in like we spend more time with them and like more rules are added onto it. But I think it's kind of like a normal thing, like rinse your dishes kind of thing, right? Like that would be a normal type thing, other than like the big rules. Plus, there's Sean's rules. I'm becoming more familiar with this because like it's been a little bit since I played the game. Reynolds Rules: discretion, don't leave the house. Disconnection, no phone, no internet, which makes sense. We were kind of already doing that before. Daily chores, like I said, dishes, right? Which is like a normal kid thing. Homework for Daniel, yeah. LMAO, good luck with that, Claire. Bored AF, well, you got homework. Grateful for being here, but need to get out. So like this cabin fever type feeling. And also like, it's not like there's a lot of connection with things, right? So like, I guess when I think of this, I think of it like, we've been so disconnected from everything else that we've known for our entire lives up until now. From like then, like the incidents, right, that were months ago, because that was around Halloween. So the incidents from Halloween until now, there's such a huge amount of disconnect. So we're not just talking about cabin fever that's going on literally right now. It's from everything from then until now. So now that we're sitting here and maybe able to like slow down a little bit and start to process it, this need to get out may be part of that processing too. It's not just like regular cabin fever, so to speak. Gotta think of what's next. Ain't no chill for the wicked. Oh, color. Like maybe he got some colored pencils or some watercolor. Okay. I don't think there's anything new in the backpack. We were just looking at all of that. Look at the PJs. We can get dressed. I don't want to, sounds bad to say, I don't want to get dressed in case that like triggers something, so I want to look at all the things that I can before we get dressed. That is a lot of Legos. Oh, but those are the big Legos. Also, you have candy wrappers everywhere. When I think of the Legos, I always think of like, don't step on them, because that hurts.
Thanks, Claire, but I will never wear these things.
Why? It's like I've gone from the silence of looking at the journal to like that awkward laughter. Oh, they're not Legos, they're wooden blocks. Feels like semantics.
Daniel was training his precision with these.
Oh.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, but are we gonna regret that somehow? Oh, this is Daniel's inventory. 2 separate inventories. I mean, like, I knew that he was packing up his stuff for when he was leaving, because I didn't realize that the game actually was, like, registering it as 2 different inventories. Do they... Oh, they don't have descriptions, though. Not every item in his inventory has a description. Oh, it does. Kind of. Crocodile. I don't know what I hit before where it didn't show the description. Old tarp. This tarp will keep us dry if it starts raining or snowing while we're on the road. Again, that concept of like, while we're on the road, but you're not on the road anymore, so do you need this, right? And the concept of trauma responses looks different than the game's example, because the game's example is, it feels dramatic. Just because not everybody has gone from like being on the road to not being on the road. It might be something smaller, like pushing people away, or maybe feeling like we're kind of clinging to people because we are used to people leaving us, like those kinds of things. This doll's description, demon blonde, too fucking creepy. I mean, but if it's the only doll he had, right? And the canteen. Also, your water here is spilling. Just letting you know. Earmuffs, dice. Okay, I think we've looked at everything, unless there's something like I missed. Oh, space toy. Yeah, because Daniel at the house before shit went down, Daniel made a space thing that we had in our room. That was made out of, like, tongue depressors and stuff.
Yep. Daniel knows how to milk Grandma for toys.
Grandma
Good.
hasn't known...
He deserves to be spoiled.
Yeah, but, like, Grandma hasn't, like, known these grandkids for forever. So for her, it probably doesn't feel like spoiling. Or for them, it might feel like spoiling because they're not used to it. But that also shows the difference in perspectives. Spoiling is something that feels like it is extremely subjective. Like, what one person might consider spoiling is not what another person might consider spoiling. That sure, it feels like something that we would
All
get
right.
free.
I'm allowed to go out now.
Like, a free shirt that's just given out at, like, fairs or events or something. Does Seattle, like Washington, do they have a lot of fairs there? Some parts of the country feel like they have
Sean.
fairs and don't.
Finally.
Sean, are you awake?
No.
Breakfast's almost done, so come down when you're ready, okay?
Okay. What? Train.
Choo-choo!
Oh, careful, Chief. They're going too fast.
We have to. We're late on schedule.
Yeah, these
yeah,
type
but we're gonna scare the passengers away.
trains are like not my thing. I know there's like a whole subculture about this stuff though. Nothing against it, just like I'd rather play video games, right? Like talking about allocating my limited resources. There's a whole subculture about like trains. This is like what I do know, right? And like these trains aren't like, I feel like Daniel as a kid, right? As you do as a kid is looking at this like, go faster, right? Because that's what kid trains are meant to do. They're made to be dented and crashed, and you know, kids are playing with them. These trains are like, huh, they're not like that. They are adult trains. They're made to be like, I don't know, looked at, admired. I picture them almost like historical replicas of trains, and they're I guess I picture like there's these models, action figure type models that you like you buy and you have to like build them yourself and paint them yourself. And I picture it like that, but with trains. And like people build the scenery like all from hand. And it's like this very intense process, but it is extremely delicate compared to like kids' trains. And just because we use the same word doesn't mean it's about the same concept. It's an example of our language being sometimes nuanced. Wow. I've never seen one of these except for like
Faster.
maybe presentations. Daniel. Saying that you don't... Daniel's like, I don't care. And it's like, caring though shows that you care for the other person, and like empathy though, right? It's like taking into account the fact that like maybe what they want for their train set is different than what you would want for your train set. Like if all of these trees were handmade, right? That's so much. And the lake, it's a lot. It's a lot that's like not my cup of
We spent the
tea,
whole week locked up in the house.
but I can admire it.
Will things ever go back to normal?
And I can admire the effort that went into it. I like how Sean's like, anything in my, like, Sean's like, will anything in my life ever go back to normal? And I'm still processing this and I'm still upset about it. And I'm like, Sean, you gotta give me a minute to muse over how cool this train is. I think Sean and I are not thinking about the same thing. Let's talk to your grandfather.
What's
Oh,
up?
Ah, look who's here. But you're too late for the 9:15 express.
It's okay. I'll take the next one.
It will leave after breakfast.
okay.
Don't be late this time.
I won't.
Also, like, how did he make the table by hand? Did he set up the electrical by hand?
Come on.
I'm glad they get along so good.
That is cool.
Daniel's definitely the ideal grandson.
Oh, does that mean you're not? What else is in this house? Ooh, the lights off the balcony is cool. I want to explore everything about this house,
Better
especially...
hit the kitchen quick.
No,
Claire's waiting for us.
I want to explore, but I want to explore your mom's room. Also, why is the vase broken?
Fuck. I broke this thing like 10 years ago.
Oh, jeez.
I can't believe they fixed it.
On charcoal.
And kept it.
Ooh, that's true.
I mean,
And we have a ton of it.
it was important. Whose is this? I want to explore everything. This is a new house to explore. I have new things to judge, comment on. It's a very nice, big, neat bathroom. The grab bar. We usually don't see those unless someone's aging or like has a disability.
Hope I'll never have to hold on to a bar to take a shit.
That's Sean. Sean, honey, that's not why. It's the getting down to the toilet and getting up from the toilet that is the problem. They have the same thing, I think, for like recliners. It's like a little thing that tries to like push you up from the recliner, right, when you try to get up. It's not like the like squatty potty thing where like you literally need it for that. It's the getting up and getting down that's the hard part.
Watch out for any train hoppers.
Watch out for the train hoppers. Wasn't that what was said in Captain's Spirit? Like, they said that. The dad said that. No, not the dad. There was an email to the dad about stuff like that.
It's crazy how everything is neat and tidy here.
Is it crazy? Or a different way to lead your life? Or something that the grandma does because of anxiety? Like, that makes her, gives her the illusion of control with her anxiety.
Quite the change from our last home.
Or just like a different culture with family. All of those possibilities.
They have so many pills and stuff to take.
I mean,
Sucks to be old.
it feels like Sean is commenting a lot on like the age difference here. Some of that could be just like he's not used to like being around older people. And something that I do feel like happens a lot though too is like some of these medications may be like actual prescription medications for like, I don't know, heart stuff, blood pressure stuff, diabetes, maybe. I guess when I think of diabetes, I don't usually think of pills. I think of insulin. So whatever. But some of that, I also feel like there's also like the pills that people might take aren't always prescription like necessary pills. Sometimes there's like vitamins, supplements, stuff like that that people take that aren't necessary. And just because we see pills in someone's bathroom doesn't mean that they're necessary. It doesn't therefore automatically mean it's like a bad thing. Sometimes people do preventative things, and sometimes people have medications that are like I guess a just in case thing, like painkillers. Those aren't a everyday thing. So, but we have them just in case, right? There's a variety of reasons why people can have medications. It doesn't just mean that we're old and we're all going downhill. Cheers, wash our face.
Oh, man. How did we survive for weeks out there with no hot water?
With our fight, flight, and freeze, like, defense mechanisms kicking in.
Wow. They sure did stock us up on clothes for the winter.
You needed winter clothes. Empty glass, like, for rinsing your mouth after you brush your teeth. Is that a sponge sitting there? Now I'm sitting here going, what's going on?
Claire's food smells so good.
I get it. I
I'm
get it.
Starving.
It's
It's
starving.
cool he took us in, but
But
how long are we gonna stay here?
I don't know. Long enough that I want to look at everything. Can I not look at... Brush it. Sean, let's brush your teeth. Sean. Did the game lock me out of this stuff? Because, like, you've been looking at stuff for far too long. Can
Come on.
I...
The chief has to get this train to Seattle by noon.
I can't look at anything anymore. Oh. How rude. It's like it timed me out and it's like, you've looked at far too much stuff now. Now you actually have to listen to us. Here's a consequence of your actions.
Man, Claire's food smells so
I get
good.
it. Okay, I get it. I get it.
I'm
Let's go eat.
starving.
I get it.
Careful. Tunnels ahead.
I
Hold
will
your breath.
listen because there's nothing else I can do. I'm not allowed to look at anything else. I desperately want to. Well, this is a cool aquarium. Where it's like part of the divider? That's cool. Here I am. And then I would really love if I could like move the camera independent. So it would look cooler that way, but... Ooh. See, that's Captain Spirit's treehouse. That's a bottle. Is that a car on the floor where people can step on it? I would love for someone to pick that up. Without powers. Just anyone. Pick it up.
Oh my, look who's awake. Good morning, sleepyhead.
Good morning.
It's that bed. Feels like a cloud.
Also, I feel like a stubborn teenager sitting here thinking, I would not be here by choice. I would not. I would not be at this breakfast table by choice. I would much rather snoop around in every little crack and crevice of this home. But no, I have to be here, I guess. This feels like such a stubborn teenager thing to say. But Sean is a teenager, so I guess it fits.
I know.
I can't do anything
You can sit
else.
down, Sean.
Fine.
Aren't you hungry?
Fine.
Daniel, breakfast time. Your brother is ready.
Grandpa's showing me a boxcar.
Stephen, your grandson needs to eat now. You can show him the boxcar later.
They really like warmed up
I
to
love
these
how they're
kids.
getting along.
It doesn't have the same like awkwardness that it had before where it's like, oh, what should we do? What should we do? And Sean was drawing that in the book where it's like this awkward, rude elephant. It doesn't feel that way now. It feels more like a family. A warm family that has a different family culture than what these kids are used to. So like that might still feel awkward, which I totally get, and that's valid. But to me, this still feels like a family. Very like different for them, but family. I think the hard part now is we're still sitting in a situation where it's like there's still this discretion. What about school? Right? These very practical things. So is this a long-term solution or a band-aid? What's on the menu or need help? Oh, let's offer to help. Need help?
Do you need help or anything?
Oh, don't worry. I can do this in the dark.
Yeah, but we can still help.
Thanks for the offer.
All right, all right.
Are you boys done playing?
Also-
we had a express delivery with the passengers. But
If we were gonna help, that makes me feel like I should have come down sooner. And not just like taking all the time in the world and then at the very minute asked if I could help when everything's done.
the engine broke down.
Yep, has to go straight to the workshop.
Good. No trains in the kitchen, remember?
But there's a car.
Gotcha, Chief.
The train can't be there, but the car's there.
Choo-choo!
Oh, sugar. He can
Oh.
fix his trains, but not my kitchen.
Well, handle came off.
Did I make enough? Everything's okay?
It's great. As usual.
You're the best cook ever.
Looks like you're getting cozy with this new country life after all.
I miss Seattle, or it's nice. So this idea of do we embrace what is happening, even though it's incredibly different from what we know? Or do we cling to what we've known before? I feel like saying it's nice. Like these people are doing incredibly nice things. None of this strikes me as like bad. Different, but if it's not bad, we can get used to it, I guess.
Yeah. It's nice to be far away from everything.
Except friends. I'm realizing that
Feels
like
like we're
social
the
life
only
and
ones
friends would
happy.
be hard.
Well, that's exactly why we love it. It feels safe, unlike the big city.
Ah, so
I
that
get
feels
it.
like anxiety. But these are also kids. It's one thing to be an adult and to like have a partner and like make that decision for yourself to go out to the country. But these are kids who like are practicing social skills at a very young age while their brain is still developing. And when we're kids, we go to school where we are inherently practicing that and making friendships, building social skills. If these guys aren't going to school, are they, like, first off, I guess on a very practical note, are they doing homeschool? But like, where's their social interaction? Because that also feels like an aspect of this that would be missing.
I like it. It's cool here.
Well, bless your soul. You'd get along good with our neighbors. We try to lend a hand, like to Charles next door. He lost his wife, and things have been hard on him and his son. He would just get lost in Seattle. But we're all taking care of him here.
How old is his son?
I think he's your age.
Ooh, cool.
But isn't that one of the rules, to not interact with people? So it kind of feels, so they've given Daniel and Sean these rules of, like, basically stay in the house all the time and no internet. Great, cool, I guess. But then it also kind of feels harsh or almost cruel or teasing. I don't think it's intended to be that way, but then it's kind of like, here's this cool thing that's just outside the house, literally right next door. Like a kid your age that you could hang out with, but you can't. Like, you can't interact with them because of these rules that we have. That feels like teasing. Not purposeful, but it's like, that's how I kind of see it. Doing chores? I don't think she's gonna like that. Whoa! Why don't we stop?
Stop it, you crazy?
I don't like that word
Hey,
either.
what's going on back there?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought Stephen was a fast eater.
Hey, Grandma, I wanted to ask you something about that locked room upstairs.
I told you there is nothing to see in it, Daniel.
Is it their mom's?
Why were you in it this morning then?
Because there's a lot of old junk in there. And besides, it's not safe for you to explore, okay?
Daniel's throwing some shade.
Daniel, language. Why don't you go explore outside? You sure look like you're getting better. Get some fresh air.
I'll wait for Sean, and then we'll go. We won't be loud. Promise.
But be careful nobody sees you. Stay in the back, okay?
I feel like I know where this is going.
Maybe you should tell him that it was Karen's room.
And maybe you should tell him to watch his mouth. It's just a room now, Sean.
If it's just a room now, then why do you care if they go in there or not? So, obviously it's not just a room, right? It's memories. It's all those other things. And Danielle was calling her on it, and she was not happy with it. And I think that this is something that can happen in families where kids very innocently call adults on stuff like this because they, like, don't understand. And adults do not like that. Like, adults don't like being called out by kids. A lot of times, like, well, you are not as old as me, or like, they feel like it's purposeful and they feel like it's purposely meant to be mean. And then the defensiveness comes up, and it's really hard to have a conversation where it's like, yes, you're right, it's not just a room, it's also about the memories that are behind it, but I'm really uncomfortable talking about this, so we're still not going to, like, have this conversation right now, or whatever, right? Because obviously the fact that it's locked and she's not letting them in there shows that it's not just a room inherently. The fact that Sean knows about it and like exactly what room it is, right? These different elements of, like, now that he's older, he knows what it is. So it's obviously not just a room. And they crave this desire to know more about their mom. But because it's painful for her, for grandma, for mom's mom, she's not letting him. Which kind of makes it more tempting, right? Because it's like, well, then what is in there that is so bad? Or so painful, or so whatever. And honestly, it could be the most stupidest thing ever. Quite honestly, it could be the stupidest thing ever that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't shed any light on anything. The point is that it's meaningful to her and it holds emotions and memories for her. She also doesn't know about the powers. So I don't think it's that great for Daniel to be showing the powers anywhere. At a certain point, I don't think it's all that great to train him with it, right? We've seen this in media a ton of times. There's probably a certain line where it's helpful to make sure that people don't get hurt. But showing it off and doing chores and dishes, that's probably showing it off, right?
Thing to see.
Why lock it then? Or Daniel needs to know exactly why lock it then.
Why lock it then? It feels like you're hiding something.
There's no secret. We just want to move on with our lives, Sean.
So it's not purposefully hiding something. It's about the emotions
so nobody
for
goes
her.
in the room, okay? I'm serious.
So she's talking about it as though I want to leave the past behind me. And that's why I am locking it up. So that's how we move on. But what she has a hard time with is understanding that there's a certain point where like that feels like it's helpful for us, especially if we're talking about grief and loss. But at a certain point, that's avoidance. And that doesn't help us. Take this right here, right? These kids showing up and wanting to have conversations about their mom. There are situations where we get reminded about these past events. If we are constantly avoiding them, it doesn't help us. So if hypothetically there was a certain point where this mom, she's a mom, right? And we're talking about grief and loss of her own child. If she had gone through that room and really like purposefully tried to kind of process through all of that and not be so avoidant. If she had done that at some point, instead of just locking the room away to try to like deal with the past, having these kids ask questions wouldn't be so painful, right? And there wouldn't be so much defensiveness with all of it. Because this feels like avoidance. That's what this feels like. I think that when we are feeling emotional pain, though, it is hard to see when we're doing avoidance, because avoidance feels like it helps. Mom contacted you, or don't care anyway. Ooh, mom contacted you. I feel like the mom is going to be important in the game later.
Did Mom ever contact you? She only talked to Dad a few times. Then she was gone.
Yes, she was. You know, Sean, I don't really want to talk about this anymore. It's over.
Feels
anyway,
like more avoidance.
You have to respect my rules under my roof. Okay?
Of course, or chill out. Well, I don't think that telling her to chill out would go over all that well. I think that there is a certain point where it feels reasonable to say, like, my house, my rules. But I think there's also a certain point where having a conversation where we say, here are my rules, but I still want to talk to you about how you feel about that, what's going on where you're at. That feels incredibly helpful, because I think when we are teenagers and we're just flat out told, my house, my rules, there's nothing you can do about it, you just have to deal with it, that feels really shitty, quite honestly. So yes, this idea of like, my house, my rules, while you're living here, you have to follow them. Like, yes, that's like, that makes sense to me, but we can still say something like that while still having, I guess, empathy for this human being, basically like treating this teenager. Usually we talk to teenagers like this, for treating this teenager like an actual human being, and talk to them more like they're a person instead of just like a child. That's what comes to my mind whenever I hear that. Is it can just be really shitty to hear that without having some kind of a conversation about like some kind of humanizing conversation. Of course.
Of course. Always.
I appreciate that, Sean. Now you better go find your brother. There's a shed with some old toys outside. I'll bet Stephen has the key.
Daniel will freak. Thank you.
It feels like, you know, I said before that these people are doing an incredible amount for these kids, and they are. It feels like potentially because of the loss of their own child, in some way, shape, or form. I don't think literally physically, I think just like distance and maybe they don't agree with actions that she's taken, that kind of loss. It feels like because of that, there's so much avoidance that they are doing of their own emotions. I guess I'm mentally picturing it like they're tiptoeing around so many of their own things that they haven't dealt with, that it's really hard for them to sit there and hold emotional space for these kids. It's really hard for them to say, how are you doing, if they haven't dealt with their own emotions? Because all of these interactions in so many ways sound great, right? There's food, water, shelter. There's, and not just like basic living things, right? Like they're building connections with these kids, especially like Stephen and Daniel. What about the emotional stuff? That seems to be lacking a little bit. And it's this avoidance, I think, is why. From what information we have, right? This is also a big kitchen with like a lot of stuff, right? Like these mixers can be expensive. Oh, we can tidy. Oh, let's tidy. Let's help clean up. Let's do our chores.
Equals clean conscience.
Oh, I didn't know that that's how it went. Also, are we gonna fix the handle for her? That would be a nice gesture. Where was it? I thought it was... Oh, it was right here. Is this... Are these burns? What happened here to where there's burns on the counter? I don't think I've ever seen that.
I better catch up with Steven and get those keys.
I know. I'm looking.
Daniel's Claire could totally be on one of those cooking shows.
Oh my god, I want some.
She would be brutal.
Brutals in like Gordon Ramsay? Brutal with like toast? Or like brutals and do really well?
Yeah. Pretty different from the one we had back at home.
What chores did they have back home? So we have a chores list. Housework, right? So like the honey-do list for that Stephen has. Vacuum. Well, you can just get a Roomba for that. Fold towels. Only the towels. Fixed. All caps. If that is the most important, why don't we put that one at number 1? Although I guess it's a handwritten list, hard to rearrange. Sean and Daniel, tidy room. Okay. Like pick up the water that's like on the floor. Put clothes in washing machine. Okay. Hug grandparents. There's a part of me that likes that and goes like, oh, that's cute. But then there's a part of me that's like, ugh, like, let's not force kids to show like affection, especially if they've experienced some kind of trauma, because then first off, the affection is fake. It's meaningless then. But then also it puts us in a situation where we learn that we have to show affection to people when it's fake. So like, when is it real? When is it fake? I don't quite like that one where it's like, your job is to show me affection. That doesn't sound great. I don't think she meant it that way. I hope. Claire does everything else. Well, that feels very stereotypical, like women get the mental load of all the chores. That makes me want to tidy even more. So if you are in here and I want to explore literally everything else in this house, then I'm going to avoid you for now, Daniel, which sounds awful.
Daniel, it's cool that Claire does her little paintings.
Little paintings?
I wonder where this was taken. I don't picture Claire and Steven as world travelers.
Mm.
Where was that picture of you guys on the beach from?
We went to Hawaii when Steven retired.
Damn.
Believe it or not.
Anywhere else? Did you love it? Did you love it?
That's so cool. I could totally see you surfing. Did you love it?
Well, it was too much paradise for me.
Where did Daniel come from? He was just at the table, and now he's here. Can the kid teleport too?
I think Steven could have stayed.
Dad said Puerto Lobos was like a mini paradise.
Of course he would.
What does that mean?
That doesn't mean you'll think that.
We'll see.
What does that mean? Also, I wanted to ask her questions that were about her emotions, right? Did you like that? Let's pick up this toy. Tidy. That's all it took. Oh.
Aw,
was important.
You had a dog?
Yes. Old Polly left us 3 years ago. But she's still with us, day after day.
Isn't she in heaven? With Mushroom?
Oh, gosh.
She is.
Oh, good.
But she's in our thoughts as well.
I thought she was going to
That's
contradict
nice.
that. Also, I wonder if Daniel is going to open up Mom's room with his powers, because, like, that feels like what he's going to
I
do.
heard Claire rehearse some songs. She's got the groove.
But does she have the music? I mean, it sounds like she does.
Sorry for getting upset, Sean. I just don't feel comfortable talking about all this.
It's fine, really. We don't have to.
I mean, that is a very nice apology.
Gee, I could never do that.
She did take the time to apologize, and a lot of times when adults feel very defensive, they look at it as, I don't have to apologize to a child. So she did apologize, and she said why. It's like, I just don't feel comfortable talking about this.
Tried one of Claire's books yesterday. It's basically a telenovela with white old women.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I can see that for those romance novels.
Where are the fish?
Well, there's only one. And he's terribly shy.
What happened to the fish? Okay, I'm allowed to explore now, and I want to do all the things.
Hey, I want to be in your drawing.
Oh. How are you gonna pose, Daniel?
Oh, don't draw me like this, Sean.
Oh,
I'm a
why?
mess.
Don't worry.
You
I'm
don't...
drawing the whole room.
Good. It's so nice to see you practice.
She seems to have a hard time with
I'm not
self-esteem
moving. Hope I look good.
and, like,
I've looked enough.
anxiety.
Time to draw now.
Not me furiously
I'm not
hitting this
moving.
stick.
Hope I look good.
I need
Something.
to train my visual memory.
Wonder if this will become a thing in the game. Visual memory.
I'm not moving.
I know.
Hope I look good.
Ah, poor man.
I'm just trying to trigger the next
Oh,
thing, Daniel.
yeah.
Sorry. I want to draw the
I'm
room
not moving.
more detailed,
Hope
and
I look good.
I don't. Oh, it's individual people this time. I thought it was going to be the whole room like it usually is.
Cool. I think I'm ready to
I'm
draw
not
this.
moving. Hope I look good.
Cool. Can we do the grandma too? I like how we reassure her by saying, like, I'm drawing the whole room, but, like, I'm gonna actually, like, make
Time
sure
to
to,
take the pen, dude.
like, detail draw you too.
I didn't memorize one of...
Can we do it more detailed?
I'm not moving. Hope I look good.
Pretty good.
Daniel, I get it.
But I can add more details if I want.
Absolutely, we're gonna add more details.
Okay. Got it.
Ooh. What about
I'm
the
not
people?
moving. Hope I look good.
Daniel, I know. Kiddo, I get it.
I've looked enough. Time to draw now.
But when we talk about social skills, knowing when to say something and not say something, sometimes that can be a part
I'm
of it
not
too,
moving.
buddy.
Hope I look good.
Yeah.
Cool. I think I'm ready to draw this.
Fair point.
I'm not moving.
Fair point about the social skills. I know, I know. I'm surprised he's not sitting here going, can I see?
I'm glad I picked these up. Gives me something to work on when they're all watching TV.
I wonder if that would make him feel like he's the black sheep of the family, where it's like everybody else likes to watch TV and I like to draw.
Feeling of love? Passion princess? Escape to pleasure?
Are these the types of romance novels that we
Does
like?
Claire read all these?
Probably. That we see in like grocery stores where they all look like they have Fabio on the cover.
Such a big fireplace.
I mean,
And not even needed.
aren't they usually?
That's luxury.
We could say privilege potentially is the word there too. Some fireplaces are even like fake.
Sweetie,
Man, can you imagine watching a slasher out here?
Ah,
Deep in the woods. No one around.
No way. Too scary.
that's the point. Fill the lights off except for the aquarium. Yeah.
They have a kick-ass set, but they only watch boring shows and cable news.
Cable news.
that is good advice.
Is cable news the one where it's like, or does this not exist anymore with like the 24-hour news outlet? But it's cable news where it's like news at 5 and then it's like, we'll be back again at 6. That's what I think of when I think of cable news.
Stephen ought to read this.
And maybe that just doesn't exist anymore with like the constant 24-hour news outlets that we
Thank you
have.
for tidying up a little.
I'm
It's
sure I'll
nice of
keep
you.
tidying.
Yeah. Finally,
No problem.
some
That was a lot of talking all at once. I want to talk about the aquarium. Daniel.
Sean, quick!
What?
Look at this.
I haven't seen any actual fish in there
I
since
can't-
we got here.
I can't see.
It's so beautiful.
What am I looking at?
Dude, come on.
Oh, honey,
I
we
told
are
you there was a
not.
fish in it.
Where? Okay, Daniel, we're not going out yet. I have other parts of this house to explore. What's in here? Oh,
Think I need a handy assistant. Can you hand me the glue in the cupboard behind me?
oh,
Sure. Hold on.
yeah. There's an axe on the wall. Did you know that? Oh, you were part of the fire department. Now this shirt makes way more sense. And the axe on the
Whoa.
wall.
Careful. Sorry, I forgot. That thing isn't too stable. Let me just...
Okay. Sorry.
My fault. Your grandmother keeps telling me, but I'm a lazy old man. Hey, can you close the door? I want to talk for a second.
Oh.
Go on.
It's the power cable, of course. Yeah, it happens all the time.
Also, we see these like little things that are like, is this foreshadowing? Is this foreshadowing? Like the blocks underneath the cabinet, and the lock on the door. All these things, I'm like, how much foreshadowing is this? And I don't know how comfortable I feel with this, especially considering like these characters' ages and like how nice they've been. I don't want something bad to happen to them. They have a hard time with the like emotional intelligence stuff, at least like the, not intelligence, but like the emotional connection stuff, especially the grandma. I don't think it's quite the same for the grandpa. Like, I guess I get when the feeling when the grandpa's like, oh, come in, I want to talk privately. It almost feels like he's saying like, hey, I know this is how my wife is. That's what I kind of anticipate when someone says something like that.
So, listen, I've noticed things
Like,
with Daniel.
powers.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Oh. Hide the secret or tell the truth. The irony of this is, I wonder if he's actually talking about the same thing. Like, is this gonna be one of those things where we're like, oh, right, you mean like how we can levitate things? And he's like, no, I meant how much he eats. Or something like that. So would we have like accidentally spilled the secret then? However, considering how Daniel uses his powers for the silliest things that are just like unnecessary, and we've tried to tell him before, only use it when necessary, but he's a child, he doesn't know what necessary means, so he uses it a lot. I imagine if Daniel bonds with Steven, he's using the powers of Steven all the time too. Claire just hasn't seen it because like she doesn't hang out with Daniel as much. So at this point, I feel like if Steven is like these people have been helpful, and Steven was like the voice of reason in the beginning. He was the one who's like, don't report them, right? I think him knowing could be more helpful. Let's go with tell the truth. Please don't have this be a mistake. That is like the ball of anxiety in my stomach every time I make a choice in this game.
Yeah. I do.
But how the heck is that possible? I mean, he can... Well, you know more than me.
Not really. It started in Seattle after everything happened. I wish I could explain, but that's how it is now. And we have to live with it.
I really don't know what to think. He needs a doctor.
Oh?
Or something.
Why?
Then I'd probably never see him again.
Yeah, I get it. He needs you. More than anything else. By the way, let's keep this between us. Claire has a lot of strong beliefs.
In what?
She wouldn't understand. She adores Daniel, and just wants both of you to be safe and happy.
Also, is that Captain
What
Spirit?
I'm trying to say is...
And the treehouse in the
maybe
picture
you
behind him?
stay here with us. I know you boys plan to run to Mexico, but...
Why not? Or Puerto Lobos. I don't know what the why not question means. Like, why not leave or why not stay? So let's go with it. Why not?
Thanks. Maybe we could, but... why not?
I know being out here in the sticks with us old farts isn't exciting, but this is your home now.
It's cool. Kinda different, but... I just don't want you to get into trouble because of us.
It's dangerous to be on the road. Do you think your father would have wanted this for his kids?
I mean, that feels like a guilt trip type question. Like, of course his dad would have wanted them to be safe. And we don't know. We can never know who his dad, like how, first off, like how his dad would have wanted that to happen, who his dad would have thought they would have been safest with, right? So inherently, that feels like a loaded question that, like, you can never win answering. Different now, or you don't know him. Like, and again, like, that type of guilt trip type question has the potential, or just, like, is guaranteed to cause someone to feel defensive, right? Like, the you don't know him. So let's go with different now.
Of course not. But everything's different now.
I know. Well, just think about it. But don't torture yourself.
After asking that question of, like,
hey,
what would your dad have wanted?
Claire said you had the keys for the tool shed?
Oh, sure. Here. You guys enjoy the sun. And be careful with that shed. It's probably a mess inside.
Thanks.
Okay.
It's good to see you in my lair.
Lair?
You know, you were afraid to come in here as a kid.
You had an
Really?
axe on the wall.
Why?
No idea.
You had an
Well,
axe on the wall.
You're a big boy now. You can take a look around. I won't eat you.
Cool.
I feel like 2016 has made red hats hit different. Just saying. Just saying.
Man. Who did this?
Oh, it was our neighbor's son, Chris.
Captain
Yeah,
Spirit.
I helped him and his dad build that treehouse.
Why are you holding a fire sword?
I'm not sure. You know, that kid sure has an imagination.
Yeah, I feel like that wardrobe might be a thing.
Wow. Is that you?
Yeah, that was taken when I retired. The mayor came to congratulate me himself.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really great day. I wish you'd been here.
Train catalog.
Steven sure digs his hobby.
I mean, like, what else are you going to do with your time when you retire? We get so invested in our jobs. They become a part of our identity. We sacrifice so much of our self-care for our jobs that sometimes when we retire, we don't know what else to do with ourselves, which is like a whole other issue. But why not have a hobby, right? Like, why not actually enjoy your free time? What else is the point of retirement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially because he genuinely enjoys it.
Well, I'm sorry, Sean. I know you guys miss your games and websites. But trust me, a break from all this can only do you good. You know, and it's safer that way.
Yeah. I know.
I was like, why are we looking at a laptop? Nothing's happening. And then I also wonder too, is it in this situation like this, is it honestly better to teach them absolutely no internet? Or is it better to teach them, here's maybe like how you could be on the internet, right? And I don't know if these characters would know enough to teach them that, to be fair. So maybe they're just doing it the best they can. Oh, is that your mom?
Oh, you found this. I just forgot to,
Hide it?
It's okay. It's been a while since I've seen her face.
Yeah. I like taking a look at it from time to time.
Doesn't it hurt?
Yeah, it does.
But he's not
She's still
avoiding
my
it.
daughter, you know.
Yeah.
I can't approve what she's done, but I think I understand.
Good. I don't.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sean. Please don't... please don't say anything to Claire about this, okay?
Don't worry. I won't.
So it feels like Steven snuck into the forbidden bedroom to get a picture where like probably everything else is hidden. Because he doesn't want to completely avoid everything. Like, he really wants those bittersweet moments because she is still his daughter. Whereas Claire just wants to pack everything away. So 2 different ways to approach this. And that comment about understanding something versus accepting it, right? Like, I think that is true. We can understand someone's perspective, but not like condone it, not approve of it, not agree with it. So he takes a different perspective than his wife. He's not trying to avoid it, but he doesn't want to cause a disagreement with his wife, so he doesn't openly talk about it. Because inherently then he's trying to force her to stop her avoidance, which would, like, that would be the cause of the conflict.
How come you have a disco ball?
Why not?
Are you, like, throwing parties and stuff?
No, this is a souvenir, you know? I actually met your grandma during a disco night, believe it or not.
For real? That's so cool.
She was such a good dancer. We danced with the hustle, and I knew I was going to marry that woman.
Is it
Aww.
the 60s, 70s?
By the way, I have no idea what you're talking about. That sounds so very cute.
Well, I'd show what it is if only these hips allowed me to.
Wow. Also, you have a paper in the middle of your room, Stephen? I don't know if you know that. Also, what I find interesting about disco balls is we kind of talk about, like, we avoid the concept of something being broken. Like, oh, being broken is bad, being broken is bad. Well, disco balls are cool, though. They're very pretty and shiny and glorious, right? But a disco ball is inherently broken glass or plastic, whatever. Just saying, not everything that is broken is bad.
Ah, there you are, Sean. Got the key? Hey, I have to go out and run some errands.
Okay.
Can you do me a big favor?
What?
Do you know how to work a washing machine?
Since I was about 8.
Of course. Can you throw in yours and your brother's clothes after the next load? They're in the bathroom basket.
Totally, yeah. No problem.
Thanks so much. Feel free to keep on tidying your stuff, too. It's good for the health to keep the house clean.
Definitely. Daniel can help.
Ah, and remember, for your own safety, no phone and no internet.
Sure.
I know, boring rules.
Don't worry, Claire.
She talks about this
Hey,
stuff as though
Daniel!
she's convinced that, like, these kids are addicted to this stuff and they've lived without it for a month. So it's not like they were, like, connected to social media 24/7 and then have to suddenly stop cold turkey. This is
There's
not
work
new to
for
them.
you.
No. I'm busy.
Busy my ass.
Wow.
Come over here.
This is
Find me first.
really... He's gonna be in the
Jeez.
room. He's gonna be in the room. This is also the most normal interaction of, like, one sibling telling the other, come do your chore, and the
See
other being
you
like,
tonight,
no,
buddy."
you. She told you, not me. You can't make me. Oh, it's paper.
Claire can draw pretty damn good.
Look at that nose.
Guess
The
it runs in the
nose.
family.
Nose. Okay.
This is fun every once in a while, but it gets old every other night.
Yeah. Well, like, how do you keep the kids entertained when they're not allowed to do
I
anything
don't
electronic?
know when Daniel will be able to go back to his school.
Ugh.
I get why they love their town so much.
I think
It's
it would
kind
be
of cute.
I think it would be one thing if, like, generationally, it was, like, normal to not use anything technology, right? It feels ageist to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. If it was, like, back in the day when these grandparents were growing up, where there was no technology, it would be normal, of course, to not use any technology. But these are kids who've grown up with technology. It's normal for them to use technology. So to suddenly say, no technology for you, that's a difficult adjustment. And not only that, this isn't a home where they grew up in, so this home isn't equipped for that. It's not like they have age-appropriate toys that don't use technology that the house is already stacked with. So it's normal for them to want to use technology. That's what they're used to. And also, what else are they going to do in the home? The home isn't prepared for it. What's this? Oh, okay. So now we're just, like, looking for him.
I get that he's sick of all this shit, but why are we playing this game?
Because he's a kid. And what else are you going to do? Like I was just saying. I feel like I've spent a little bit of time exploring this house, and I'm a little afraid that when I find Daniel, the story will progress. I feel like we're this close to the Captain Spirit stuff. So I feel like this is a good place to stop, getting a little more of an idea of what this family is like, their dynamics. It's always interesting for me. If I were to guess, I would guess that there's going to be something that has to do with that wardrobe, like I said. And I desperately hope it doesn't fall on anyone. Like, I would hate for that. And these interactions with Captain Spirit and, like, people finding out about the powers. I feel like the powers are going to be more and more of a thing. And the powers are tied to emotions. We saw that when the dad was killed. And these emotional outbursts, as far as, like, when Daniel saw about his dad, right, that had this connection. So we can't... Sean is teaching his brother to control his powers, but what conversations are being had about emotions and coping with emotions and all of that stuff? I don't think there are very many conversations that are happening about that, because Sean can only teach his brother what he already knows. So if nobody has taught him about that, he can't teach his brother about that. And we're also currently living in a family where one person just avoids stuff and the other person is still avoiding some things, but not others, because he's still avoiding conversations with his wife, things like that. And I guess that works for them, but it's not something they can't, like, teach these kids then how to handle emotions inherently because of, like, those dynamics. So that, to me, I'm wondering, like, how that will play out, these emotions, connections to the powers, as we go on and we learn about the mom, because parents have emotional connections, and who knows what's locked in that room. And I'm sure Daniel will go in there. I would love to hear your thoughts on the game and the video, and I'll see you next time.